Final section before afternoon tea. I'd like to welcome Justin Tippett to the stage from the Australian Customer Experience Professionals Association. This final chapter that we're looking at before the break, we look solely just at the role of the contact centre manager or the senior leader. That microphone should be good. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks, James. I remember when I first started way back when, right? The number one show on television was Cheers. The number one song was Unchained Melody. Jurassic Park was the number one selling book when I first started in call centres. That was 1990, so for those doing maths, it was a long time ago, right? And started on the phones like, as we learnt in last year's report, 74% of contact centre managers started their career on the phone. And I remember when I started coming through the ranks, you know, you started an organisation and all you know is your job. I'm a call centre agent, I take calls, right? You don't realise that this stuff exists. There's this whole industry, there's a whole bunch of other people that also do call centre manager roles as well, right? So congratulations to SMAART. I don't think they get enough credit for doing these sorts of things. It's bloody awesome to see so many people actively involved here in the contact centre industry. Just as a show of hands, how many people here would consider themselves or identify as a contact centre or call centre manager? Just a show of hands in the room. All right, so I'm going about over half, I reckon. Well done. In the 2021 census, 1,087 people in Victoria identified as a contact centre manager. So there's a few of you guys here today. The reason I tell you that, I think the first stat, I've got the boring section. It's hard to follow AI, right? Because we all want to know about AI. But one of the things that really struck out for me here was that 74% of the people that were surveyed said that they did feel valued by their organisation. And you might look at that and go, whatever, it's pretty boring. But for someone who started so long ago and seeing so many familiar faces here in the room, I remember going to functions like this, and the number one issue for people that worked in the call centre industry was that we just didn't feel valued. The call centre was seen as a cost centre. It was just a room out the back where the mushrooms grew, and no one actually cared what we did, right? So I think it's just fantastic how far we've come as an industry when you see these sorts of numbers. So well done to all of you. But we're still struggling, right, as a call centre. What this data shows us here is how many people felt that their call centre was being considered when decisions were being made about the business. And if you look at the not quite enough and hardly ever and add those two together, because I'm great at maths, it's 46%. So 46, nearly half of the people that we surveyed said they really don't think the call centre is being considered when decisions are being made in the business. And you can probably all relate to that, right? We've had calls come in when people go, oh, I'm just ringing about the new special offer you've got. And the call centre agent's going, sorry, what special offer? Or they've decided to increase a new product line and they forgot to tell the call centre and these new calls coming in. So it's bloody tough, right, when we don't get that recognition sometimes and people don't consider the call centre. And that's something that we've got to work out how we do better. And we'll reveal a bit of that soon. Again, about half the people surveyed said, we just don't have enough resources to hit the KPIs that we're expected to get. So if you're sitting there going, geez, it's hard getting my greater service levels or whatever metric there is, you know, you're not alone. Half of your peers or colleagues are also having the same challenges at the moment. We know resources are tough. We've already heard a little bit about that, and we'll hear a little bit more about that after the break today. But we know that resources have been really hard to keep. And so organisations have started to adapt and said, we'll give you some tools, if you like, to help you do that. And you can see there some of the leading ones is allowing for increased shrinkage. Now, for those who put your hands up in the room, you already know what shrinkage is. For those who don't, it's when we take stuff off the phones, when they're doing other stuff. We might be doing some training, development, etc. And we know that's really important to agents. They want more development and more engagement in the workplace. But when we take them off to do that stuff, that means there's less people on the phones to actually take the calls, which puts more pressure on the people that are already there doing the work. So it's a double-edged sword, and we're starting to see that. We want more flexibility, we want more development, but these are some of the challenges that are permeating through for the call centre manager. When we looked at the KPIs, we actually asked all the contact centre managers, what are your top KPIs? And you'll see some of that data in the report when you go into the detail. But I guess at a high level, some things haven't changed. Quite literally, service levels was a target when I started 30 odd years ago. It's still a target. But some things that we have started to see that are shifting is some metrics around employee satisfaction, because we know there's a correlation between happy and engaged staff, better retention, more productivity, etc. So we're starting to see those metrics come through. We're also starting to learn more about CX. Had a great presentation earlier with Belinda on CX, and you can see that CX is now starting to be considered as part of the call centre experience as well, because we play a big role in that customer experience. So if you didn't think it was tough enough already being a call centre manager and managing staff and trying to hang on to them and find new ones and balance all these new KPIs, guess what? You've got to do more. So if you ever thought, oh my God, just managing calls is tough, well, now we've got to do emails. 91% of people surveyed who were call centre managers said, yep, also responsible for the email channel. Now we've been doing emails for a while, but now we've got live chat. 55% of call centre managers are running live chat. You can see the data up there. 26% now running chatbots. It's all happening in the contact centre. And I think it's bloody awesome. I know it's hard. It's hard trying to balance all these things, but what an amazing opportunity for all of us to go, we own the customer. It's all happening in the contact centre. We're not just a cost centre. We are managing all the interactions with our customers. So the other thing we asked our call centre managers was, we know you're busy. I don't think any call centre manager got home at the end of the day and geez, that was a boring day, not much happened. Said no call centre manager ever. But when we asked them what they're actually doing, this is what they're doing. And you can see there, the majority of the time is really just spent attending meetings. Going from one meeting, now that one's going off. I'm not doing it. Most of the time he's just spending meetings, trying to get that engagement out of the contact centre and get them around the business so we do know what's going on. So people do consider the call centre. It's a crucial role that we play. But one of the stats that really stuck out to me is the bottom one. 2% of call centre managers in a regular week spent time directly interacting with customers. Now that could be jumping on the phones, it could be serving a customer over the counter, etc. But it's a pretty small percentage. And I think what you find in some of the best practice operations is that the call centre manager still gets involved with the customer. And it might only be for half an hour a week, but it's just that chance to touch base, see how difficult it is, get real feedback from real customers in real time. So we're starting to see that that's becoming a bit of a hot spot. When we looked at job satisfaction, again, 45% of call centre managers said, yeah, it's a very fulfilling role. That's good. I'm pretty happy with that. 43% said it's quite fulfilling. And you can see they're pretty low on the other numbers. So I think as an industry, again, I think that's something that we should celebrate. Most call centre managers do find their role very fulfilling. So if you're a call centre manager and you had your hand up, you're going, yep. And if you aspire to be a call centre manager, it's a good thing to aspire to, right? Because most of them are pretty happy. I think it'd be nice if we could really shift people over to the very fulfilling, but, baby steps, right? So the key findings that came out of this section, and I know I'm on point, right? Because I'm the one that stands between you and having a drink, right? And doing some networking and stretching your legs. So I'm trying to be quick. So the key outcomes are, one, the contact centre scope is increasing. We've seen that emails, live chat, all that sort of stuff is starting to happen. And again, I think that's an exciting opportunity for us all. The resource issues just aren't going away. We see in the news just about every night another business has gone under, everyone's hurting, it's painful, etc. And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. And that's absolutely going to have an impact in multiple ways in the call centre. One, it could direct our budgets ourselves. Everyone's looking to slash costs in the business call centre. Oh yeah, we'll just wipe a few heads out, right? How hard could that be? But it might be, let's move to cheaper channels. So again, that comes on to us to work out how we're actually going to do that. So resourcing is definitely a challenge here to stay. We know technology is going to play a bigger role. If we just heard about AI already, it's coming. There's no doubt it's coming whether we like it or not, so we've got to get prepared for it. Employee engagement is probably one of the other things that I just wanted to touch on briefly. I think as an industry, we've always had a pretty bad rap. Who wants to work in a call centre? Just like chicken hen, right? We're slaves, etc. But the reality is, I think we're bloody good at it. we're not the leaders of employee engagement. We do gamification. We've had reward and recognition programs since the dawn of time. And I think it's about time as an industry that we started getting a bit of credit for actually the good that we do in managing our employees. My last dot point is really, again, I think it's just an exciting opportunity that we do own the customer now. We've got that real opportunity within our business to be the heart and soul of everything that happens with the customer. And I think that's a great opportunity for us all. And the final dot point, which I didn't put in there, is that you're not alone. And I think, again, when you come to these sorts of industry functions, you go, you know what, there's a whole bunch of other people that do this role, and we all learn different things. We all have different challenges in different industries, etc. But I think that's the joy of being part of this industry, is giving us a chance to actually all improve together. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Some great questions. Luke's asked, what role does EQ play in the success of contact centre managers, and how can they effectively navigate high-stress situations while maintaining composure and empathy?
Jesus, Luke, come on. It's a good question. I mean, I think, one of the things that call centre managers have always been pretty good at is the people stuff, right? So, yeah, it's really important because at the end of the day, we manage people. But I think what we're starting to see is the challenge now that we're also managing technology. And if I said how many call centre managers here can put up their hand that have got an IT degree, I'm guessing there's not going to be many hands going up. So EQ, absolutely important, but so are a bunch of other skills as well.
Should the contact centre manager actually be on the C-suite?
Good question. I'm going to controversially say no, but I think probably the head of CX should be. I think the contact centre plays a very, very important role, but I think CX covers everything. So if there was a seat on the table, I'd be going CX as opposed to contact centre.
What do you think are the main reasons why, I'm going to change to the contact centre, aren't engaged in product and service launches?
Why aren't they? Good question. Look, I think some of the leading organisations actually have, as part of the induction period, where everyone who starts an organisation has to spend some time in the contact centre. And I think there's a bit of ignorance sometimes in the world that how hard can that job be? And I think that's why we miss out sometimes. So you see a lot of leading organisations, not only do they get sort of workers to go through the front, it's the whole C-suite spend time in the contact centre. And I think when you do that, there's more of an appreciation for just what the contact centre does.
And final question, I'm going to change it a little bit as well. How will technology change the role of the contact centre manager moving forward?
Significantly, I think, is the short answer. When you think of all those channels that we're now going to be responsible for managing, they don't just all stand in isolation either. We've heard the omni-channel talked about a lot, that seamless transition from one channel to another. All that stuff's great. It's magic. But, I do a lot of work with contact centres, and they're still trying to work out the best options for option 1 or option 2 in their IVR, let alone integrating AI or chatbots. So I think technology is going to play a role, and a significant role, but we've still got to, I think some people are at baby steps and some are a bit further down the path. So.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Justin from ACXPA.
Thanks, guys.